Hello, welcome to your 2.4 video notes. We're going to graph inequalities. Now, when we're graphing inequalities, the good news is that we no longer have to deal with 3 variables. We're dealing with 2, which means that we have a normal line that we graph, and then we have to shade. So basically, we're graphing a system of 2 variables, seeing where they intersect, and then shade to see where those shades intersect. So here's some examples. The line y equals negative 1/2 x minus 1 is graphed. Shade the portion of the graph that represents y is less than or equal to negative 1/2 x minus 1. Well, we have to remember that if it's facing left, if this is left, it's less than. Left, less than. Okay, that's one way for you to remember that. Now, if it's less than, that means it's going to be below your line. If it's greater than, it'll be above, less than, and it's below. So, below the line gives us this shaded area. Okay, so once you have your line graphed, it's really not too hard to shade. Make sure you're graphing it correctly, though. If you don't remember how to graph, go watch a video on graphing lines, or you have a calculator. Use your calculator. If you don't have a calculator, remember that online you can go to desmos.com to get a graphing calculator. So there's no reason for you not to be able to graph at home. The line y equals x minus 3 is graphed below. So we're here. Shade the portion of the graph that represents y is greater than x minus 3. So we're going greater. Well, that's all of that, because that's all of the space above. And, you know, I can't cover all of it because it goes on infinitely. But that's okay, because we know the general idea. Now here, both lines are graphed below. Shade the portion that represents the solutions to the system of inequalities. So we're going below the negative 1/2 x minus 1. So the same thing we did on that first part, right? This is where we're shading. And if you shade above for x minus 3 because it's greater than, we're up here. So our answer is the double shaded portion, which in this case is all of this area. Okay, all of that purple area. Now, it also asks us to record 2 points that satisfy the inequality. Basically, take two points from that shaded area. With this first picture, the orange shaded area, you could pick anything. You could pick this point, any point you wanted to in the shaded area. So let's put -2, -2, and 0, -2. Right? They're both in the shaded area. So it doesn't ask for a specific point. Just make sure it's in that area. For the second one, it says record 2 points that satisfy that inequality for the green. So if you look, 0, 0 is in that. And another point that's in there is 3, 3. Right? 3, 3 is over here, 0, 0 is right here. So whenever it comes to your system and putting both of them on the same graph, you have to look at where they intersect. So that purple area. So 2 points in the purple area. Anywhere in the purple area. So we have -2, -2 right here. So -2, -2 would be an example. And then we have -3, -3 right here, so that is also an example. But any points in there would work. Alright, so now you know how to graph inequalities. Let's look at some practical uses for an inequality. Now, yes, we have a word problem. And part of a word problem is setting up those variables and setting up those equations. But it doesn't have to be super duper hard. Okay, so let's try to make this as simple as possible. Short Wheels is a small home business that designs and builds skateboards. Its employees glue sheets of maple veneer together to build the boards and include wheel sets when selling the boards. Model A, so that's one type, uses 10 sheets of maple veneer and is packaged with 2 wheel sets. Model B uses 12 sheets of maple veneer and is packaged with 4 wheel sets. Short Wheels has 140 sheets of maple veneer and 40 wheel sets available. Let X represent the number of Model A skateboards, and let Y represent the model of B, the number of Model B skateboards. So, X and Y are models A and B, which means that number 1 tells us to write an inequality to represent the amount of maple veneer used to make both models. So we're talking only about maple veneer. So let's go into our word problem and find maple veneer. Well, Model A uses 10 sheets of maple veneer. Model B uses 12 sheets of maple veneer. And Short Wheels has 140 sheets of maple veneer to use. That's how you're going to find your equations. So remember that Model A is X and Model B is Y. So we actually have 10X because Model A uses 10. Model B uses 12 sheets, so we're going to have 12Y. And the maximum number of sheets we can have is 140 because that's the max that they are providing, which means that we need it to be less than or equal to that number, which is 140. So that's our equation. Now, then for number 2, write an inequality to represent the number of wheel sets needed for both models. So let's look at wheel sets. We have, in that same sentence for Model A, that it is packaged with 2 wheel sets. Model B is packaged with 4 wheel sets. And Short Wheels has 40 wheel sets available. So again, we're going to do basically the same thing, right? Model A is X, and Model A uses 2 wheel sets per package. So we have 2 times X plus Model B with 4 wheel sets. So we need 4 times as many wheels as sets, so 4Y. Then the maximum available is 40, right? We can't go over the number 40. If we go over the number 40, we cannot make that final set. So we are less than or equal to 40. And those are our equations. Step 3, number 3, solve both inequalities for Y. And write the related equation on the corresponding line in the graph below. So they've graphed these lines for you. We kind of just have to match. And when it says solve for Y, we're solving for Y. So take your equation. Let's do the first one. And you're going to solve for Y. So we have 10X plus 12Y less than or equal to 140. Now we want to get Y by itself, so let's get rid of that 10X by subtracting. So 12Y is less than or equal to 140 minus 10X. Then we need to get Y by itself, so let's divide. Divide by 12. Divide by 12. Divide by 12. And Y is less than or equal to 140 divided by 12 gets us to about 11.7. Okay, and with real life situations, it's perfectly fine to use decimals. That's perfectly fine. Negative 10 over 12 gives us 0.8x. So of the 2 equations, we're looking for a y-intercept of 11.7 and a slope of 0.8, negative 0.8. Well, this line right here has a point at almost 12. So that's going to be our line. Y is less than or equal to 11.7 minus 0.8x. Then our other equation, let's draw that in our color. 2x plus 4y less than or equal to 40. Solve for y. So we're going to subtract our 2x. 4y is less than or equal to 40 minus 2x, and divide by 4. And 2 over 4 is 1/2, so 0.5x. Okay, well, that makes sense because the other line has a y-intercept at 10, which is what we needed. So this line right here is y is less than or equal to 10 minus 1/2x. Or, I'm sorry, I use 0.5. Okay, number 4 says to shade the appropriate area of the graph to represent the solutions to the system of inequalities created. So we're going to shade. Now if you look at the symbols, we have y is less than 11.7 minus 0.8x, and y is less than or equal to 10 minus 0.5x. So when we shade for both of them, because it's less than, we're shading down. So I'm going to pick a color, and this is going to end up being blue, so we're going to shade. I'm going to make the other one red, so that line is being shaded right here. So where they intersect, that is your solution. So all of this area right here. Anything outside of that area is not an answer to this problem. So in number 5, they want us to justify whether or not the points shown actually work. So I need to turn my page, I'm sorry for that. So I'm going to reshade for you very quickly. And you can kind of see where the blue and red overlap, because it kind of changes colors to a purple of sorts. Alright, so use the graph above to determine whether each point would satisfy the conditions for the situation. Justify your answers. So let's plot these points. 5, 10. I'm going to put that in orange. And that is over 5, up 10. Is that within our purple area? Well, no, it's not. So this is not an answer. So the answer here is no. And the justification is that it is not in the double shaded area. Because our only answers are in the double shaded area. It doesn't matter if it's in the red, it doesn't matter if it's in the blue, it has to be in the overlap. So let's go on to the next point. 14, 0. So 14, 0. That's right here. Okay, that is on the line, but because it is or equal to, that is an answer. Okay, so this answer is yes. It is a solution. It is in the double shaded area. Next one I'll do in purple. So we have 5, 7. Well, the point 5, 7 is over 5, up 7. That is right here. Is that in the double shaded area? Definitely. That definitely is. So that is a yes, because for the same reason the green is, right? It is in the double shaded area. And that last point I'm going to put in dark blue, 12, 3. So we have 12, over 12, up 3. Now this is that situation that I was talking to you about. Is that in the double shaded area? No, it is not. It is only in the red area, which means that it is not a solution. So the answer is no. It is only in the red area. Okay, so we finished that problem. Now, last thing that we have to do in this video is number 6. Because we don't want to just find out the area, we want to see a profit, right? If you're having a business and you want to graph your ability and then find out how much money are you going to actually make, because we want to make money here. We are a business. We don't want to just spend money and lose it. That doesn't make any sense. So the profit from making one Model A skateboard for short wheels is $48. And for Model B, it's $65. So of the points in number 5 that satisfy the system, so we're only talking about these 2 points, which one produces the greatest profit for short wheels? So they give us an equation to use. We just have to write it down. Okay, profits. So we're going to represent profit with the letter P. Profits. And it's $48 per Model A, so 48x, and $65 per model B. So 65Y. So we have to try these 2 points and see which one gives us the higher outcome. So we're going to try the green 14, 0. So we're going to try 14, 0. When we do that, we're plugging it into this P equation. So P equals 48 times 14 plus 65 times 0. Well, that number ends up being $672. Not bad. Definitely not bad. You definitely made some money. And now we need to try the other point. So we are now going to try our 5, 7. So P equals 48 times the 5 plus 65 times the 7. So P here, if you put that into your calculator, you get 240 plus 455 gives us a profit of $695. So which point makes more money? This point makes more money. So that would be your answer. Okay? So that is graphing inequalities. Have a wonderful day.